I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my solutions to GCSE test papers. Now we will solve question number 17 to 21 from 2018 test paper. These are thinking and application questions. The question number 17 is based on trigonometry. We are given this diagram. The question is, work out the length of AD. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. Now let's see how to solve this. We are given two angles and a side. We have a combination of angle and side opposite to it, so we can always apply the sine law, right? So we'll begin with sine law. From this figure, we can find what is dB, right? So we can say what dB is. dB over sine of angle opposite to it will be 34. Sine 34 is equal to the combination known to us, which is length 12.5 divided by sine of 109. Correct? So cross multiply, find dB, which will be equal to 12.5 times sine of 34 degrees divided by sine of 109 degrees. Good. So the calculator should be in degrees. 12.5 times sine of 34 divided by sine of 109. That gives you 7.3926. So we'll use this value, 7.3926. Now if you look into the triangle ADB, we know two sides and included angle, right? So in the triangle, which is ADB, since we know two sides and included angle, we have side, angle, side. In that case, to solve it, we have to apply the cosine law, correct? And we can find AD. So we can say AD square is equal to sum of these two squares, which is 7.3926 square plus 11.4 square minus 2ab cos of 86. 2 times 7.3926 times 11.4 times cos of 86 degrees. Correct? So let's calculate this. We have 7.3926 square plus 11.4 square minus 2 times 7.3926 times 11.4 times cos of 86. So that gives you 172.85. So AD will be square root of 172.85. So when we do square root of our answer, what we get is 13.147, correct? Now we have to write our answer to three significant figures. That means we have to round it to this number. So we get this as 13.1 only. This is 4. So we should write this as 13.1 units are centimeters, right? So we get here our answer as AD equals to 13.1 centimeter. Clear? So we have to apply sine law and cosine law to solve this particular question. So basically solve these two triangles, get the length AD. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Now let's take question number 18. Question number 18. Show that the equation x cubed plus x equals to 7 has a solution between 1 and 2. Part B is, show that the equation x cubed plus x equals to 7 can be rearranged to give x equals to cube root of 7 minus x. And then we have part C in this, which is starting with x0 equals to 2, use the iteration formula xn plus 1 equals 2 cube root of 7 minus xn 3 times to find an estimate for the solution of x cubed plus x equals to 7, right? So let's see how to solve this. To begin with, we have to prove that the solution of this equation is somewhere between 1 and 2. So what we can do here is that we can rearrange this equation. We have x cubed plus x minus 7 equals to 0. Solution really means that the sign changes, right? So solution means, when we say solution, let's try to understand this part. Solution means we have a 0 for the given polynomial, right? Now this polynomial is a continuous graph, right? So polynomial, which is a continuous graph. Correct? So if I substitute x equals to 1, what do I get? For x equals to 1, if I substitute here, I get 1 plus 1 minus 7, which is negative 5, right? And if I substitute x equals to 2, I get 2 cubed plus 2 minus 7. So 2 cubed is 8 plus 2 is 10, and 10 minus 2 is plus 3. So what you notice here, that as we move, the sign changes. So change of sign indicate that there is a 0 somewhere between x equals to 1 and x equals to 2. Is that clear, right? So the sign is changed. So it's a cubic function. So what is really happening is that, just to illustrate the point, somewhere, we don't know where, but definitely somewhere between x equals to 1 and 2, the graph crosses the x-axis. So it is at x equals to 1, let's say at 1 it is minus 5, and at 2 it is plus 3, right? So if it goes like this, there is an x-intercept, and that is the solution. So this is the solution we are looking for. Correct? So the question was, show that this equation has a solution between this. So that is how you're going to show it, right? So change of sign indicates that there is a 0 somewhere between x equals to 1 and x equals to 2. Therefore, the equation has a solution between x equals to 1 and x equals to 2. Is that clear to you? So that is how you're going to explain this. Now let's look into part B, which is show that this equation can be rearranged in this order. So let's take x to the right side. So we are given x cubed plus x equals to 7. So x cubed equals to 7 minus x, and now we'll do cube root of this, and we get what is required. Correct? Now the last part here is to adopt the iteration method. So part C is, starting with x0 equals to 2, use the iteration formula xn plus 1 equals to cube root of 7 minus xn 3 times to find an estimate for the solution of this equation, right? So basically, we will begin by substituting x0 in this value, so we can find the value xn plus 1, right? So the formula is given to us, cube root of 7 minus xn. Now we'll substitute x 0 equals to 2. Right? So what we were saying here is something like this. Let's try to understand this part also. So we said that the graph crosses from a negative point to somewhere positive. So we know that we have a value which is positive 3 here, right? When the x value is 2, and it is equal to minus 5 when x equals to 1. So we'll start with this point and find the value of the function. Is that clear to you? So we get our first value of approximation. So we are putting n equals to 0, right? So n equals to 0 gives us x0 equals to 2. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So the first value will be cube root of 7 minus 2. Correct? So let's find this number. It is cube root of 5, right? So we'll do cube root of 5, 7 minus 2. And that is 1.70. Let's write down this value. 1.709975. Okay. Now for the second value, since this is positive, right? So we have come to this point. So that is where we have come. 1.7099. Since this is positive, this time we are going to use this particular value. So we substitute here, so we get x2 as cube root of 7 minus 1.709975. Is that clear to you? To get the third value. Perfect. So what I will do actually is we'll use this negative value. Okay, so we can do this time cube root. Sorry, we have to use cube root of 7 minus 1.709957. And that gives you 1.7424. Okay, 2. So we have come even closer to 0, right? So we can find the third approximation. So now we'll do cube root of 7 minus this value, 1.74242. Now this value here is... let's do the calculation again. Cube root of 7 minus 1.74242. And that is 1.7388, right? So we are coming closer and closer to 0, right? Definitely we are far away. You have to continue this process many times to really get very close to 0, right? But that's what we get. So starting with x0 equals to 2, use iteration formula 3 times. So we have already used it 3 times to find an estimate for this solution. So estimated solution is this. Is it okay? So that is our estimated solution. Now we can always write this as 1.7 as our estimated solution. Correct? So we can say this is approaching to 1.7, for example. Correct? Okay. So that is how we are going to do this question. Let's move on and take the next question now, which is question number 19. Here are two right angle triangles. Given that tan E equals to tan F, so we are given that tan E equals to tan F. Find the value of x. Find the value of x. You must show all your working. Okay. So basically we are given two similar triangles. So we are given tan E. Tan E will be opposite over adjacent. So it is x over 4x minus 1 equals to tan of f, which is 6x plus 5 over 12x plus 31. Correct? So we get our equation. Now we can actually cross multiply and find the value of x. So I'd like you to actually pause the video, do this solution. Let me just write this here in this space and then continue with the solution. So I'm rewriting the equations. We have x over 4x minus 1 equals to 6x plus 5 over 12x plus 31. So let's cross multiply. So we get x times 12x plus 31 equals to 4x minus 1 times 6x plus 5. So that gives you 12x squared plus 31x equals to, first multiply by 4x, 24x squared. Then we have plus 20x minus 6x minus 5. Now we can bring all the terms together, so we get a quadratic equation. We get 0 equals to 24x squared minus 12x squared. We have plus 20x minus 31x. We also have minus 6x and minus 5. So 0 equals 2. Let me push this up now. Okay. So I hope you can see it all. Okay. So 0 equals 2. 24 minus 12 is 12x squared. Then we have here, let's do this. We have 20 minus 31 minus 6 equals to minus 17. And we have a number 5. So we are looking for a product of 12 times 6, which is 60. And so 20 and 3 can work for us. So we can write this as 0 equals to 12x squared minus 20x plus 3x minus 5. So we can now take between 12x squared and 20x, we can take something common. 4 can be common, right? 4x. So 3x minus 5, and we already have here 3x minus 5. So 3x minus 5 can be factored. So we get 4x plus 1. Now, to get you the solution, we will substitute 3x minus 5 equals to 0, and we'll say 4x plus 1 equals to 0. So that gives you 3x equals to 5, or x equals to 5 over 3. Here we get x equals to minus 1 over 4. Now we are talking about dimensions. If I write minus 1 over 4, I get a negative value. So this is not valid. Right? So, but this is a valid value. Right? So the answer here is 5 over 3. Now that is very important to understand. See, here we have 4x minus 1. That means 4x minus 1 should be greater than 0. That means 4x should be greater than 1, or x should be greater than 1 over 4. So we are looking for a solution which is greater than 1 over 4. So negative 1 over 4 is not a valid value. Is that clear to you? So the answer here definitely is 5 over 3. So that is how we are going to solve this question. So this may take some time, a lot of calculations and rearrangement of polynomials. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to write your comments, share your views. Let's move on and take the last two questions now. We are almost at the end. Remember, this was 1.5 hour test paper where I tried to explain you a couple of things and then solve. And I think we are on time to complete this paper within 1.5 hours. Now, question number 20 is, 50 people were asked if they speak French or German or Spanish. Of these people, 31 speak French, 2 speak French, German, and Spanish, 4 speak French and Spanish but not German, 7 speak German and Spanish, 8 do not speak any of the languages. All 10 people who speak German speak at least one other language. 2 of the 50 are chosen at random. Work out the probability that they both only speak Spanish. Okay. Now, in solving this test paper, we have to use the black ink only. However, because I'm explaining here, we are using different colors. So remember that. We need to really find probability. So this question relates to Venn diagram. So once we produce the Venn diagram, we are in a position to find the probability easily. So we are actually talking about 3 languages, so we should make 3 circles, correct? So let's make 3 circles here and then we'll work out the details. So let's say these are the three circles for three different languages. So we are talking about French, German, and Spanish. So whenever you make a Venn diagram, you have to put it within a box. So that means that is our domain, right? So complete set, universal set, as some of us may call it, correct? Okay. So that completes the Venn diagram. Let's figure out what to fill in where. So to begin with, we have 31 French speaking. So the idea is to get from inside out. So the approach is to get from inside or out. So here we say to speak French, German, and Spanish. So we'll do this first. So everybody is speaking this language. So two are speaking all the languages. So that two should come right here. Right? So we begin with inside out. Now we're looking for statements which could fill in numbers in these places, correct? 4 speak French and Spanish, but not German. So not German, but French and Spanish. That means we're looking into these two, right? So, no. So French and Spanish means this is French and Spanish, right? So we'll look into this. 4 speak French and Spanish. So something common between Spanish and French. So only this, not German. So that is 4. Correct. So directly this value 4 comes into this place. 7 speak German and Spanish. So between German and Spanish, we have got these two as common. Since we are talking about 7, we already have 2 there. So 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. So 5 will get into this place. Is that clear? So move from inside out to complete your Venn diagram. 8 do not speak any of the languages. So 8 will be written outside of this. So we're taking care of that. All 10 people who speak German speak at least one other language. So there are 10 in this group, but none who speaks only German. To make it 10, 5 plus 2 is 7. We have to write 3 here, right? So that is how we get 10. 5 plus 2 and plus what gives us 10 is 3. So we get the number 3. Now we'll get back to the first one, which is 31 speak French. So how many? Only French is how much? So only French will be 31 minus these, right? Which is 3 plus 2, 5 plus 4, 9, correct? So that gives you the value 22. So 22 will come here. Is that clear to you? So that is how we actually complete this diagram. We are still left with one more, and that is we need to figure out how many are speaking Spanish. Given we have 50 people were asked about this. Total is 50, right? So total is 50. So we can find this missing group by adding all this. Is that clear to us? So only Spanish will be 50. Take away all what we have written here. Is that okay? So we are now going to add all this to get 50. So we'll take away 22 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8. Is that clear to you? Right. So let's do this. So that's how we are going to get 50 minus all those numbers. So we'll do 50 minus 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, take away 5, and then take away 8, right? So that gives us 28. Is not 2, is 22. So, well, to get this number, we'll do 50, take away 22. So let's do it. So we have 50, take away 22, take away 3, take away 2, take away 4, take away 5, and take away 8. Which is 6. So we get this number as 6. So this number is 6 for us, right? So that's how we'll complete our Venn diagram. Okay, so This is done. Now, 2 of the 50 people are chosen at random. Work out the probability that they both only speak Spanish. So there are 6 Spanish speaking, right? So when we take out 2, so one by one, right? So first you have a choice of 6, right? So we get, so let's say a probability that both speak only Spanish. Let me write here. Okay, so first time it is 6 out of 50, right? 6 out of 50. Now once you take 1, then we are left with 5, and this is 49. Is that clear to you? So that is how we are going to get our answer. So this could be divided, so we get 10 here. Okay, so this could be simplified further. But anyway, let's calculate the answer using the calculator, right? So we'll do 6 divided by 490. 490, and we get our answer as 3 over 245. Okay. Which we could do otherwise also without calculator by dividing this further by 2. So we get 3 over 5. So 3 over 245 is the probability of picking up only 2 persons who are speaking Spanish only, right? So that is how we are going to answer this question. So I hope that makes sense. So in such questions, you have to really go through the data very carefully and then place the values as we did here, right? So now we're almost at the end. Here is the last question, question number 21. ABCD is a parallelogram. So ABCD is a parallelogram. So let's look into this. ABCD is a parallelogram. That means these are parallel sides. So that is parallelogram. ABP and QDC are straight lines. So ABP, this is a straight line. Angle ADP equals to angle CBQ equals to 90 degrees as shown here. Part A is prove that the triangle ADP is congruent to triangle CBQ. So let's mark these triangles so that's easier for us to understand what we need to prove. ADP, so we're looking into this triangle. ADP, right? So is congruent to CBQ. CBQ is that triangle. Okay, so we're looking into these 2 triangles. We need to show that they are congruent. So let's begin with this. Now, we are already given this is a parallelogram. That means we are given, okay, so we are not talking about 2 triangles, ADP and triangle CBQ. CBQ. So in ADP, we have AD, which is congruent to CBQ. So this CBQ, these are the opposite sides of parallelogram. So CB. So opposite parallelogram sides. Okay. So we have shown one part. Now the angles we know are congruent. So in the triangle ADP, angle ADP is equal to angle CBQ, which is 90 degrees, right, given. So we have side angle. Now we have to look into another side which should be same in these 2 triangles. So, or angle, correct? Now, since we are given these as the parallel sides, therefore, in the 2 triangles, now, angle, now we have this parallelogram. So, look into this angle. BAD, so we'll write angle BAD should be equal to this angle of the parallelogram, which is CDCB. These are opposite angles of parallelogram. Is that clear? So that is how we are going to show that these two triangles are congruent, right? So they are congruent. We have shown that two angles and included side. So it is angle, side, angle, congruency. Clear? So these three steps will help us to show that they are congruent triangles. Now, part B is explain why AQ is parallel to PC. So we'll have to refer to this diagram. So I'll try to prove it here itself. Now we'll show why AQ is parallel to PC. To prove. Okay. Now we have already shown that these two triangles, which are APD and the other triangle, are congruent. So that really means the third angle, which in ADP, the third angle is this, right? That angle should be equal to the third angle in the triangle CBQ. So CBQ, so this angle should be equal to that angle. Okay? So these two angles are equal. So we know that let me write down here, angle BPD is equal to angle BQD. Okay. Now we are also given that these are parallel sides, right? These are parallel sides, and therefore alternate interior angles will be equal. So that angle is equal to this angle, and on the other side we know that these two angles are also equal. Clear? So these two angles are also equal, right? So we also have this to be equal, and we also know that this is equal to angle ABQ is equal to angle PDC. So basically all these four angles are equal, congruent. Clear? Now, if you look into this triangles again, from here we can show that the triangle BDC is also congruent to triangle ABQ. So that implies that triangle, let me write like this, PDC is congruent to the triangle BAQ. Since here we have in these two triangles, if you see this angle is equal to that angle, so we have two angles which are equal, and in these we have these sides which are equal, right? So angle, and then we also know that these sides are equal, right? So we have side, angle, side. So those we have already shown earlier. So side, angle, side, these are congruent, and that implies that AQ is congruent to or equal to PC. Right? So AQ and PC are also equal. So these sides are also, let me make 4, they are also congruent. Now since AP is parallel to QC, right, and they are congruent, right, therefore APCQ is a parallelogram. Correct? So that shows that AQ is parallel to BC. Is that clear to you? Right. So what we did was that we proved that these two are also congruent triangles. These sides are congruent, and these are two congruent sides in a quadrilateral where already we have two parallel sides. Correct? And therefore, two parallel and equal sides, and therefore it should be a parallelogram, and that is how we could prove it. Does it make sense to you? So that's how we are going to solve this question. So with this, we have a complete solution to our 2018 test paper. I hope you find it interesting and useful. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you have any questions, you can always email me on the address given here, and look into other solutions of similar papers to do better in your own test. All the best. Thank you.